Hello, everyone, and welcome to OGTV Books, where I add value to your lives through books. Today, I'm going to be discussing the book called Believe Bigger by Marshawn Evans Daniels. This book focuses on three key things. The first one is God, it's centered around God. The second one is finding our purpose in life. And the third one is about uplifting women. I'm going to use life lessons from my experiences as it relates to this book. So, if you want to learn more about what happens in this book, I suggest you go get a copy. Believe Bigger. I highly recommend it. So, according to the author, there are 5 stages that we go through in order to discover our life purpose on this earth. And like I said, everything is centered around God. So I will try my best to explain as much as possible using my life experiences. She divides this, like I said, into 5 stages. The first one is called a discovery stage, and where we're questioning what we're supposed to do in life. Now, growing up as a kid, I wanted to be a librarian. I loved reading books to the point where any spare time I had, I would go to the library in my school and read as much as possible because I always believed that knowledge is power. It's always good to equip yourself with knowledge. That way, you become resourceful to yourself and to other people around you, creating a positive impact in the society. So I grew up with that mindset. But I discovered that the older I got, um, that mindset kind of started phasing out, either because I didn't have time for it or, due to peer pressure. Just the curriculum wasn't supportive of, going to the library to read at that time. There were just so many other things you needed to do and pass your exams as a kid. So that kind of phased out in my life. So, but I did grow up loving to read. So then, I also grew up with the fear of failure in mind. Hence, I think that was my reason for doing so well in school. I just didn't want to be compared to this person's child or this person's son doing so well. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to read, get it done, and move on. And that was the mindset I had for a very long time, and it kind of spilled into other aspects of my life. The next stage she did talk about was talent. And talent is where we decide who we want to become. So, being, I guess, a nerdy, a bookworm, and also having that fear of failure, I ended up wanting to pursue science versus the arts. And it had a lot to do with the environment I was growing up in. Then I wasn't seeing a lot of, how will I say, role models in the literature world. I didn't know much about them. And then we're growing up with this mindset of, oh, you need to do something to have a stable job, a stable life, and take care of yourself, take care of your family. And I was also good in the sciences. So I decided to pick science over literature. Um, Hence, I became a pharmacist, right? And pursuing this role, I found out that, going to school and becoming, learning about chemistry and pharmacy is actually different when you're in the real world, right? Um, Now, I did pick up a lot of skills in pharmacy in terms of helping people and also being knowledgeable and also reading a lot. That also came into play from my background. But now, the next step I'm going to talk about, which is called the gap, that is when I think I started having an awakening on what to do with all these talents or skills that I possess. Like, how can I move to the next level, do something more challenging and things that will impact people that can reach me in person. So, hence, I had something as the author referred to as a disruption. And what I mean by that is, I think God was trying to tell me that I could do more than just being a pharmacist, like helping people, helping the community. I already do that, but what can I do to reach people who can't even see me in person? How can I share this knowledge of wealth I have? And so my first disruption came. I lost my job at some point, very, very early in my career. And that was kind of like a blow to me because, again, I said I have the fear of failure, right? But I was also competitive in the sense that I'm like, okay, this happened to me. What can I do? What are the solutions? I always tried to have a backup plan. So lo and behold, it took me 7 months to find, a more stable um, pharmacy position. But during those 7 months, I was like, okay, I need to learn a new skill. My boyfriend at the time, who happens to be my husband now, was very supportive, but I didn't want to be too dependent on him. I was still like, I need to find my feet first. I want to find my feet and all that independent, right? So I moved in with him, canceled a lot of my subscriptions, all that to save. I was going to the gym, hired personal trainer, I was trying to learn Spanish. All this was going on while trying to look for a more stable job, right? Um, and at some point I was losing hope. I'm like, am I really, my parents spent all this money for me to study this and I really like it. So, I'll give it all I have. I'll, give myself 6 months and see what happens, right? So I finally landed a good job as a pharmacist. But of course, it came with its challenges. It was very far from home. I had to travel almost every day. So again, I decided to do another sacrifice because I wanted to start a family, right? So I made sure I transferred my work close to home, took a pay cut, was eating organically and everything like that. Ended up getting married. And then time to have a baby, right? I ended up miscarrying at work during a hurricane. So, as in you can imagine, I don't even know what other sign there was, but it was just so weird. And I was like, first of all, I lose a job. Then in the same job, I have a miscarriage. What is going on? Like, what is God trying to tell me? And so I was like, you know what? Again, I persevered. My husband was very supportive. And then I had this friend too who was also there for me and was encouraging, trying to tell me things that could reduce stress. And because work was really very stressful then, and I happened to be working with lots of women at that time, which I don't know, I guess I was just still learning of self-develop, like communication skills, trying to develop myself, but I was too hot-headed then. So, again, yes, faith will prevail. I ended up having my first child. And then 6 months later, 6 months later, there was another shift, right? My job. It was now like being in one store to going to multiple stores now, right? So I was scared. I'm like, this sounds very unstable. What again? What is God trying to tell me here? And I don't know. I just, after a while, you know, After doing that job for a while, moving around places, I found out that I was finding peace. I was learning a lot. I was growing my network of friends. I was learning a lot of things professionally. I learned how to be a better leader, a problem solver. I became very efficient. I went from needing improvement to exceeding expectation. And I was happier both at home and at work. Um, and so I'm just saying that there's sometimes that we might hear this inner voice talking to us that, we're too old or we're not good enough, having self doubt. We should find a way to just trust God, the stronger voice. Just trust God. Like, He will never give us something that we cannot handle. He always knows where we're supposed to be. We just have to have faith and take that leap of faith. The leap of faith part is very difficult. The reason why I say that is that some of us, once we find our comfort zone, we think that we've arrived and we just stay there. We feel content. I'm fine, so that's about it. But reading this book, it tells us that we are created in God's image and likeness, and every one of us has a higher purpose in life. You know, God give us gifts and talents to be able to use to bless others with them. And I think that's the phase I'm in right now because again, I after all this journey I had as a pharmacist, I had an awakening. I think I was saying in 2018, I was like, I'm still loving books. I want to read books, but at the same time, I want to share life lessons with people that look like me, that have regular jobs, everyday life, all ages. Like, what can I share with people in terms of books to add value to their lives so that they feel significant, they feel heard, they feel seen, that they're not alone, you know? And hence came the birth of OGTV Books. Um, and I was really touched when I heard from one of my subscribers telling me that after a stressful day at work, they turn on my channel and the calm voice that they hear helps them sleep. I was very touched. I was like, whoa, if I could do that to one person, then, what's stopping me from doing it to 100, 1,000, 10,000, a million people? So that kind of gave me an encouragement to keep, pressing on so that whoever hears my voice, or if you can relate with me, or if you know someone that can relate with me in any of these life experiences that I share on my channel, that's fine. Just as long as you see yourself as being enough, you know, building your self-esteem. That's why I'm here. We're all learning together, we're all growing together. And I hope that I'm able to encourage you all that you are special in someone's eyes, especially in God's eyes. So, like I said, this book is really very uplifting. It's very helpful, not even just for women, for men as well. So please do get your copy. Believe bigger. And if you learned anything from this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel at OGTV Books. And I will see you next